Hello, everybody. Today, on our second episode of AMA, Ask Me Anything, we are going to go over 3 questions that we have had sent in. So, I am Brooke Farber. I am the intern for this summer for Thoughtcast Media, and we're going to get started. So, our first question that was submitted was, I only have the budget for one video this year. What one video should I produce?
I'll take that one if you want. So one way to look at what videos you should be doing is to look at your sales and marketing funnel. At the top of the funnel, we've got awareness, consideration in the middle, and then decision at the bottom. So it's great to have a lot of people coming to you. This is my school of thought. A lot of people coming to your website, but if you don't have the way to move them through the funnel, it's kind of a waste. So I like to recommend to people that they start at the bottom of the funnel, and there's no better video at the bottom of your funnel than a testimonial video. So if you look at the buyer journey and how buyers go through the decision, make the decision to either go with you or go with somebody else, or in many cases go with no one at all. That's the worst competition, is no decision at all. But they get into the funnel and they begin to start to learn about the problems that you guys, that you can solve. They understand the sort of the depth of the problem that they have for the first time. And then they start to really sort of consider your solution and what can you do for them and how does that work. And they're meanwhile looking at other solutions, other companies and so forth. But then they eventually get down to the point they say in their minds, not quite so, not as verbally as this, but they say, okay, I think I need to buy something. I think I've got a problem and I need to buy something to solve that problem. And so I'm going to buy from one of these 3 companies. I kind of like all of their solutions and so forth, but then they have to decide, now risk comes in, right? Now I'm going to actually have to part with some money. And that's not a good thing. Your heart rate goes up. Everyone likes to buy. No one likes to be sold to, right? No one likes to make those sort of hard decisions. And so at any rate, they eventually make the decision. And it's much easier for them to make the decision to go with you if you've got video testimonial, social proof, which we talked about in the last episode. If you can throw up a video that has somebody essentially saying, I'm just like you. I had the problems just like you have the problems. I was looking for a solution just like you're looking for a solution. And I went with these guys because they could solve my solution. And I'm very happy that I did. That's a great way to reduce that risk in the mind of the buyer and get them to actually pull the trigger on ordering from you. So I'm a big fan of testimonial videos at any rate, but at the bottom of the funnel, they just can't be beat. There's another reason, I'll keep going on here, and that is that everyone loves a testimonial video, So if you don't do video and you get the budget for one video, get a good testimonial video. It's great because, you can use it in many ways, as I said, at the bottom of the funnel. But your customer's going to like it. If the video company you're working with is any good, they're going to make your customer look like $1 million and like an intelligent consumer. They're going to love it, and your management is going to love it. It's great to have people online talking about how good a company you are. So it's kind of the feel good video of the video field. If you have to go with a video, it's most effective at the bottom of the funnel, and it's the sort of thing that everybody likes. Frank, do you have anything to add to that?
I think you pretty much nailed it. Unless you don't have like any audience at all, in which case you maybe want to focus a little up funnel. Testimonial is going to have the biggest impact. And like you said, it's just going to make everyone happy. So even if, maybe it doesn't produce as many sales as you had hoped, it's going to make everyone in the company look and feel good about the work they're doing. And that's worth something too. But yeah, I just want to bring up that in the last episode of the AMA, we talked about social proof, and this is, just the perfect example of that.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, as I've talked a little bit about the customer journey, they go into it at, kind of not knowing anything. And then they get kind of euphoric when they find a solution. Oh my goodness, this could really actually help me with that problem. But then they get to the point on the backside of that solution where like, I kind of have to buy something now. You know,
Yeah.
I've done this research. It is going to solve it. Now I have to buy it. And all sorts of different emotions kick in at that point. Like, am I making the right decision? If these guys aren't the right guys, it's going to look bad on me. You know, all those risks start entering into the equation, and they start really thinking hard about it. They take out their pencil and they sharpen and they start doing the numbers, and they do all these other things like this. Can we afford this? Is this the right way to go? Do we really want to invest this? And those questions are far from their minds when they're in the awareness stage. And then they come back. The issue of price does come up in the awareness stage, at least initially, to see, am I in the right ballpark? Okay, here's a solution I'm looking at. Is this solution $50,000 or $5,000? It's $5,000. Okay, that's my ballpark. I'm not in the $50,000 arena. I'm in the $5,000 arena. Convince me. Go ahead now and convince me. You get to the other side of the convincing, and it becomes an issue of, I think I actually have to do something about that. I have to part with that $5,000. And are these the right guys to do it? So one other thing that I would add, Brooke, as sort of proof of the effectiveness of testimonial videos, they can be a little bit longer in many cases than videos at the other stages. So if you're trying to get people aware of things, you want to keep those videos really short. Usually you want to keep them short. You get into the consideration phase and you get some videos that can be a little bit longer. But when you get to the bottom, because people are going to now spend that money that they initially thought of at the beginning of the process, now they're at the end of the process, I got to write a check to somebody. They'll spend a little bit more time listening to other customers talk about how you worked with those customers to make their project a success. So you know, it's great to keep videos short. That's sort of the general rule of thumb. But when you get to the bottom of that, especially in a business-to-business setting, when somebody's going to buy $500,000 worth of software, they'll do their due diligence and sit through a discussion of how that solution worked for somebody else. So just another proof point of how effective testimonial videos are. You only got the budget for one. My vote is for a testimonial video.
So I actually want to add my own question in here that I think could be really helpful. You're suggesting that if you had one option for one video, it should be a testimonial. What exactly is a testimonial video?
Great. So good question. So it was, and I know in asking that, you know the answer, but so I appreciate that, asking for the audience. That's good. So what it does, it's a type of social proof. In other words, it says to, you know, people who have been on your website and who've been talking to you and so forth and so on, you know, they know what you're saying about their solution. They know, you know, what you think. They know, they've heard all the proof points. They've heard all the statistics. They've heard all the numbers and so forth. And, you know, they take that with a grain of salt, you know, because you're the marketer or the salesperson doing it. But when you turn that over to another one of their customers, a customer who is like them, you know, and looks like them in terms of demographics, in terms of the solutions that they need solved, in terms of budget and things like that. When you turn that over to somebody and another customer can honestly look into the lens and say, yeah, we have worked with this company. They solved our problem. They did what they said they were going to do. The product works the way they say the product works, and I'd buy it again. That's what a testimonial is in essence. It's proof that your product works the way you say it works, or your company works the way you say it works. And so that serves to take that risk out of the buying decision and allows people to go forward with the purchase.
So our second question is, should I use actors in my testimonial videos? Are they necessary?
Frank, you want this one?
Sure, I'll start it off anyway. The short answer is you should not use actors, and if you're not disclosing that you're using actors, you can get into legal trouble. So the reason you want to use real customers is that I'm not going to say the best actors wouldn't be able to replicate it, but most actors are not going to be able to replicate the passion and enthusiasm that a real customer is going to have. They've been there, they've gone through the ups and downs of having a problem and then having, the solution solve it. And it's just not going to be able to be matched by an actor. Our best testimonials, actually all of our testimonials are filmed this way, where we don't really have any scripting or anything. We kind of just let the customer go. And that's where we really find a lot of the nuggets, so the gold nuggets. You could have them rattle off like your key benefit statements that you use in all your other marketing and sales assets. But when you allow them to kind of speak freely, you uncover these things, and with the right questions being asked, you uncover these things that you wouldn't expect. And sometimes, it's not even necessarily about the product or the core offering of the product or service provider. It's just like how the solution made the customer feel. And sometimes that's the most impactful stuff that comes out of our recording sessions.
Yeah, you can't pay people enough to say things about your product as people who really know your product and enjoy your product feel. And Frank's right. I mean, we'll ask people questions about how they're using the product, and they'll come up with something that we've never heard before, and the client even hasn't heard before. Well, we use the product to do X, Y, and Z. And they'll be like, really? I never thought of that. But yeah, honesty is the way to go. I think paid actors for testimonials is dishonest at the top on its face. But I think the real reason not to use actors is they're just not very good. Now, if you're trying to, if you sell, I don't know, guitar picks. Here's a guitar pick. You sell guitar picks. You get a bunch of actors going, yeah, they're the best guitar picks in the world. Done. If you're just trying to build a bunch of people saying that they're great guitar picks, then I guess, maybe it's still dishonest. But if you get people who really use those guitar picks and really like them, and certainly if you get people who are using, $500,000 worth of enterprise software that you've provided for them, you really want to get the ins and outs of it. You want to get the people who are looking at those videos want to know, how did you deploy it? What ideas? And I think most people, when they're doing testimonial videos, they'll ask people what went wrong. It makes those videos real. So we will typically ask, we have a lot of clients who do enterprise software, and we will ask questions like, so how did implementation go? Well, let me tell you, implementation never goes well. It's always difficult. But that gives people a chance to say, well, implementation is tough. We had some setbacks, but the company stood by us. And that's what people want to hear. They don't want you to gloss over the issues. They don't want you to gloss over the problems. They want you to give a real assessment of what it's really like to use that product or to work with that company. And that's what makes the very, very best testimonials. Those are the testimonials that really sell for you.
So in conclusion, telling the truth is the best option.
Telling the truth is the way to go. That's right.
Well said.
So our last question that was sent in is, what platform should I post my videos on, since there's so many outlets for videos in general?
Frank, you want that one again?
Yeah, sure. Like most things, it depends on the situation. So going back to the testimonial example, that's at a very specific point in the buying cycle, where you don't want the customer to be distracted, or worse, get pulled in the direction of one of your competitors. So if you were to host a testimonial video on YouTube, you could see an ad for one of your competitors come up before your video plays. They could be in this very specific mindset when they start your video, and at the end they get, a recommended video for, fail videos or cats or whatever it might be, and then get drawn in some other direction, possibly even forgetting about what they just saw. So in that case, you'd want to host it privately. We use Wistia primarily. There's other options, Vimeo, Vidyard. There's several, and they give you a lot more control over the experience. You can brand it a certain way. You can include calls to action and links and forms and all kinds of stuff to optimize for conversions essentially. The downside of that is that you're not going to get as much play um, on other platforms. So again, those are great for hosting on your own website, landing pages, etc. But then you're missing out on all that YouTube traffic. For the most part, you're missing out on all search engine traffic. Google is really going to prioritize YouTube videos over anything else. So if your objective is to spread awareness, get your name out there more, just get more views on your video, YouTube probably the way to go, unless you have a very well-trafficked website already. However, if you're trying to control the experience, push for a certain conversion, some kind of objective, hosting it yourself is absolutely the way to go.
Yeah, I would say that if you're trying to build an audience on YouTube, YouTube is the way to go. The YouTube player is fine, but it's branded for YouTube, and it's designed to keep people on that YouTube channel. So YouTube, the YouTube player is red and white, and unless your colors are red and white, you're out of luck. I mean that player doesn't carry your brand. So that's an advantage of going to a private video platform. Second, Frank mentioned it, you can't control the experience. So when you have a private platform, your player looks like your player. You hit go and you have all the controls, stop, speed up, slow down, that sort of thing. But you can't control what happens next. So you can't control that an ad might pop up in the middle of your video for one of your competitors. I mean, that happens. People can target their competitors. You can't control, at the end of the video it says, now look at these videos. Those could be cat videos, or like Frank said, fail videos, or all the other stuff that we all watch when we're just trying to be entertained. So you can't really control that experience. If you are, as Frank said, trying to build an audience on YouTube, of course, there's nothing better. Got great SEO if you're trying to get people to find you. So awareness type videos are good. We will. Are we posting these on our website?
Yep.
We are. Okay. So and we're using the YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I should have known that question before I asked it. But that's because this conversation alone, and we got one more question coming up, is packed with SEO, goodness. And so people who are searching for those things, there's a chance they'll find this video and it'll lead them back to our website. So or to our videos. Again, it's kind of hard to get people to then go to your website, as you know. So so those are the real restrictions. I think that also, private platforms have a lot of other goodies in them. So, you have a way to gate your content. So you can say halfway through it, you can say, give us your email and we'll show you the rest of this video. There are all sorts of annotations, which you have in YouTube, but some additional functionality around that. There are all sorts of ways of doing chapters. So one video that follows another, things like that are just that YouTube just isn't intended to do, and they've got no interest in doing that. Personalization. So Vidyard is well known for their personalization, where you can put in a video and put in a whole bunch of people's names and have your customer's name appear on the hat in the video, things like that. So if you're doing, the other advantage that YouTube has is it's free. So, but you have to weigh all those things: the experience, the branding, the additional features, whether or not you're trying to create an audience on YouTube or create an audience for your website. All those things go into the hat, as it were, and you have to make a decision as a result of that.
Yeah, and the reality though is that you should be posting your videos wherever your audience is and whenever it's appropriate. There's no harm in having a website or a video hosted, privately that only displays on your website where you can control the experience, and also having it on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, you name it. There's really no harm, but when given the opportunity, you should be trying to control that experience.
What would be the best platform to use for content involving videos on the social media side? Like we know we have YouTube and Vimeo, but what do you think about LinkedIn or Snapchat or even TikTok, Instagram, all of those?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. I've built quite a following on LinkedIn with a series of videos. So it's really a matter of understanding who your audience is and understanding, where that type of audience resides. So if you're going after boomers who are, business boomers like me, you probably want to be on LinkedIn. If you're trying to get in front of the LinkedIn and maybe for social, Facebook, but if you're trying to get younger customers, younger engagement, you might want to go with Instagram, right? So there are a lot of young people now who think of Facebook as old-fashioned, and so you're not going to find them on there. Yeah, you guys shouldn't have agreed with that as quickly as you did, but so you want to go with where your audience is, and you want to build your content around that. So if you want to have a conversation, or you want to present information about hard business topics, LinkedIn is probably the way to go. But Brooke, as you know, you're doing great work for us on Instagram right now with just like fun things. What's your favorite camera? And things like that. And just as a way of getting engagement with that different audience. I would never publish some of the stuff that I published on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I am, however, in the process right now of repositioning a lot of that stuff that I wrote for LinkedIn to appear on YouTube. And so that requires changes to the way the videos look. So we publish in square format on LinkedIn, which is a great format for traditional social media. We publish 16:9 on YouTube because that's the way most videos on YouTube look. You have to change out all of your graphics, and the sort of graphics that work on YouTube don't work on some of the more traditional formats. Another change to format that you have to make for the new social stuff is 9:16, so oblong videos instead of videos like this. And so there's a lot of work to customize that content to make it look and feel and appeal to people on those different audiences. But it starts with the content. It starts with what are people actually interested on this. What are people on this channel actually interested in hearing, as opposed to just throwing content to the wind.
Yeah, Brooke, you've been really good in holding our feet to the fire on this, since you've started with us. I remember one instance, actually, it was about this previous AMA. We're like, oh, we could put this up on IGTV, the full 30 minutes of it. And you're like, I don't know if someone's going to want to watch 30 minutes of business content on Instagram. And,
Yeah.
it's just like not what people are looking for when they're on the platform. They want to kind of unwind, relax, see what their friends are up to. And, 30 minutes of business talk probably isn't going to fit the bill.
Yeah. I just proves the point of a video I produced a while ago for LinkedIn, and then have recently repurposed for YouTube, which is to find yourself a young mentor and give that young mentor permission to push back on all your old fogey ideas about social media and about other things, right? So we depend on you, Brooke, as you know, to say, yeah, that's not going to work. And because we don't know. I mean, we know what's worked on these other platforms that are designed for different markets that we are familiar with, but we count on you to sort of help us figure out how to customize content for these up and coming social media audiences.
Well, as we mentioned, we do have social media, so you can follow us on Thoughtcast Media for Instagram and Facebook. We also have LinkedIn where you can follow us as well. And you can check out our YouTube channel, Video First Marketing, where you can check out all of our videos, including our AMA sections, which will be very fun and entertaining.
Yeah, YouTube is. I was going to say YouTube is a new channel for us. We didn't want to do it until we could do it right. I'm not entirely sure we're doing it right yet, but I think we are. And so kind of new. So yeah, definitely check us out there at Video First Marketing by
Yeah.
Thoughtcast Media and all the other wonderful channels that Brooke mentioned.
Yeah, and
And
don't
if you
forget to submit questions on any of those channels. You know, DM us, comment, we'll take them all.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you have any questions that want to be featured on these AMA episodes, just send them down below in the comment section, DM us. You can even email if you really want to.
Yeah, info@thoughtcastmedia.tv. Take them there.
Okay, thanks, Brooke.
See ya.
Yep.